everyone. My guest today is Mitul Bid. He's the founder and chief coder at Codytoss. He believes coders are artists whose art is the code they write. He's a computer scientist from IIT Bombay and has been delivering quality software solutions for more than 16 years. Believes he's just getting started now building again Coditas.com. Mitul, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes.
Okay. So what is Codytoss? Is this a marketplace to hire developers? Is it a SaaS tool? What are you building?
So Coditas is essentially a team of engineers and designers who offer the entire software development life cycle services. So right from user experience, architecture of software, development, deployment, support, quality assurance. So the end-to-end services around the software development life cycle.
And when did you launch this services team?
This is in November 2014.
2014. Okay. And walk me through how you got your first customer. And then the story that I sort of want to dig into here is you are the exact persona. You start off doing custom work and then eventually you go, oh my gosh, so many of my customers have the same problem. You build an internal tool and before you know it, you're building a great SaaS tool. So we'll build that story, but take us back to day one. Who was your first customer?
So my first customer, actually we had a couple of customers, and these are all people I have known from my previous roles. And it was before I started. I had reached out to them about to start, and I was amongst the first coders of the company. And I built myself for the first 1 or 2 months and built the team parallelly, and then I stopped building myself and continued going.
So what were they paying you? Were they giving you a spec and you're paying per product, or is it an ongoing retainer? How did you monetize?
It's always time and material for me. We've always charged for the hours that we've spent on it. And the initial projects were largely ongoing projects, which were already there. And we needed some support around getting a few more developers in the project.
Okay. Do you remember that first year in business, 2014, how much revenue you did?
So because our financial year in India ends in March, it was barely, I have to convert it to dollars, but around upward of between $100,000 and $150,000. That was like for 5 months, 6 months, 5 months.
And in that 6 months, did that feel like success to you? Were you happy with $160,000 in sales?
Yes, totally.
And then what happened in 2015?
In 2015, it grew to almost 2 million. And then since then, it has been growing on year more than 50%, or at least upward of 50% or an average.
So what, you did about 5 million last year, something like that?
No, this is 2014. So last year we did upward of 10.
You did what, above 10?
More than 10 million.
More than 10. So this is obviously, I would say, one of the a hugely successful, right, sort of services firm. You must have had software ideas. Do you have some internal software products you're using?
Actually, no. So I was very clear about this, that that's the biggest problem why a lot of software services companies are not able to scale well, because they are always in two minds. They want to build their own IP and they want to offer services. I saw it as a conflict of interest. I wanted to make sure I focus on what I was actually building, wanting to provide services. So we have zero IP even today. We have lots of things which are repeatable, reusable. We will not claim the IP. I just see it as a conflict of interest right now. Services are doing really well. I strongly believe in it, and I want to continue.
Yep. Okay, so you see it as a conflict of interest. So you really are 100% services. There is no SaaS tool here. What's your team size today? How many people full time?
We are about 440 today.
440, and how many of them are engineers?
So almost 360 would be around.
Can you explain me? A lot of my listeners are trying to open up or find firms like yours in Bangalore, right? Or just other places in Chennai, other places in India. Help me understand how and what it's like working with a development team in India. What's a big mistake that Americans make when they try and open an Indian center for development?
Right. So actually, that's the one of the biggest reasons I heard. So the story about why I started in the first place about this was exactly because of the feedback I got from a lot of colleagues. So I used to, the first 10 years of my career, I was a coder myself. I used to travel to the US and go to developer conferences. In a lot of developer conferences, I used to get one very, very common feedback around the code quality which India produces. And so if there was some metric which could get an average code quality which India writes, of course, it would be below standard, below average. And I, as a coder in India, took it very personally. I was a clean coder. I was very passionate about quality coding, and I wanted to make a change. And the fundamental difference and reason over here wasn't that the Indian coder was not good. It was that most software services businesses in India looked at it like a business. Nothing wrong with it. I totally agree. But they missed the mark by looking at the building block, which is code. So clean code was not something which was promoted by a lot of companies. And I was fortunate to have worked in companies where clean code was genuinely promoted. And while starting the company, I wanted to make sure I focus on that. So if you look at the name of the company, Coditas, the tagline, code is art, strong believers. The entire growth, the entire philosophy hasn't changed from day zero. And that's the biggest thing. You're the people who have tried to work with India and and found that difference, right? So when you're working with techies from the Bay Area, for example, we work with them, they expect a similar level of thought process, multiple ways, so that's number one. And the number two, which I really, really also wanted to focus on, was entire cultural aspect about work-life balance, making sure the team is culturally aligned to the clients and timelines, making sure deliverables are met, saying no at the time. A lot of people do not know how to say no. So we are super transparent. We never promise a bug-free software, for example, right? So most of my counterparts of the companies will say we give you bug-free software. Anyone who promises bug-free software has never written software or hasn't built. So we're very honest.
There are always bugs.
There are always bugs, right? And we are clear about it. We'll write clean code. It will be easier for you to find the bugs. It will be easier to maintain. So we are very honest, right? And so those are the things, right? Look for companies which are honest, which are focusing on the basics around code quality. And you speak to us, speak to any who's like a lot of my friends have started companies. I know many companies like ours. So it's very easy for you to, if you dig in, you ask the right questions, you'll get the right people. There's a lot of there are lots of kinds of companies in India, right, which are offering services. But I think this should be the largest differentiator around focus on the code quality or focus on the quality.
If a firm listening right now signs up, goes to Codytoss.com and wants to work with you, what should they sort of expect to pay per hour for development work via Codytoss?
So since we are offering services, which is a very wide variety, like since we also have quality assurance services, project management services, user experience services, and we have people with all experiences. We have people who have just 1 year of experience to people with 25 years of experience. So the range over there is very light. So it starts at literally $10 to $12 an hour to up to $50+ an hour, right? And a lot of our rates also blended. So we typically do not, we avoid charging or even getting some of our key guys as dedicated people on the projects, like a CTO, we have people at the CTO level, but they are never dedicated on a single project. They'll be on multiple projects, and that's how a lot of our clients get the benefit. They get the top people shared across projects, and they get the knowledge that they want in a shared fact.
How many clients did you work on for at least an hour last year?
So last year, so we currently have around 35, 40 active clients, and that's the kind of size we've been maintaining. Over the lifetime, we would have served more than 150 clients, because what happens is we used to get a lot of small projects and they get over. But our engagement now has largely been product development. In fact, for a lot of our clients, we own the entire engineering for them, right? End to end, right? So we are the CTO, we are 100% of the software product engineering is being done by us. And I have clients whom I began with 6 years ago who are still with us. We have clients who so it's going. So a lot of, we're moving towards, longer teams and larger projects now, but 30, 35 clients is kind of an average issue we've always had.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you had 40 clients last year and you broke 10 million revenue, they're paying something on average of like $20,000 a month, something like that.
Right. So again, the average is a good metric, but we have projects where we only have one developer. We have projects with 90 developers, right? So difficult.
Big range.
Yeah.
Range. What did your top of the 10 million of revenue you did last year? What did your top customer make up?
So I have 3-4 large clients. One, the largest was in the travel and loyalty space, and then we have clients in the the person who introduced us Connect and Sell, which is into the automated dial space, and then We have people in the genetic space. We have a very wide variety of projects. So at one end, we are doing cancer detection based on your genetics, and on the other end, we're building software to manage horses, right? So it's a big variety. And so as a company, I have never looked at a domain or even a technology as a niche area. We are fairly open. So we have a very large breadth that way.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, so I'm trying to put my head in my listener's head. So let's use Connect and Sell, for example. Chris came on my show, gave a great interview. It
Yes.
shocked me when he said he scaled to $25 million in revenue, and
Yeah.
basically the entire dev team is you.
Yes.
So if Chris ever wanted to sell Connect and Sell, and an
Yeah.
acquirer got in and started doing diligence and realized the whole tech team was with you, is that a good thing or a bad thing for the acquisition?
It really depends, right, on what the acquirer is acquiring it for, first of all, right? And we do, and so we've got this question very often, especially from potential investors. So, we make in a clause whereby the client can potentially buy the team, if they want, as well. The acquirer can buy the team for a sum. So, yeah, that can be fixed at, a pre-agreed amount on the contracts. And there's a build, operate, transfer agreement or a transfer of team agreement that we have. Usually not a preference, because even so we've had some clients who've been acquired but they've continued and grown the teams with us, because there's a different, they've understood the whole thing very well. They
Yep.
came and met us and they've grown the teams, or we've had multiple such instances. But yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, but some people
Yeah. No, it's very interesting, because a guy like me that doesn't care about chasing a VC valuation or even exiting one day, I just want really good developers to build a great product. This is a way easier solution than trying to hire developers directly, train them, set up their environments, etc. You do this for a living. Can you handle more clients, or are you sort of tapped out at 40?
No, so we've always been on the edge always, right? So since we began, I think the biggest challenge we've always had is getting the talent at the quality levels we are kind of hiring for. So we've stepped up the game in our learning and development, coaching, and so we are overall improving our way to get in more people, hire more people. And that's the challenge. Clients has never been a challenge, but between projects, we always generally have some small capacity. A lot of clients who we've done well with are clients we started small with, and we grew the teams together, right? So in fact, a lot of clients we started the project from scratch. We started with 3 people, and today they are very large clients with or even post acquisitions have become very large. So
this is your advantage, right? If I tell you and email you one day, hey, we have 3 engineers, I want to move faster, can we double it to 6? You can flip a switch and have 6 instantly. That would take 6 months of my time as a founder to go hire 3 engineers.
Correct. That's true. That's one of the biggest advantages. And now, since we are scaling and we overall have a larger bench, we always try to maintain a certain percentage of the team as a bench, as buffers and available. So it's always kind of for short-term large bursts, and you can have 3 of them for 3 more months, and then again scale down back to the original 3.
That's smart. And one of my questions is going to be, how do you prevent founders like me from falling in love with your developers and hiring them directly? But you already have a plan for that. There's a clause where you can actually buy the team already.
Yeah, so that's the eventuality, and that's it's a expensive clause, and that's for investors to make sure that there is an option to do it. It's like when you're getting a company acquired, you'll pay a multiple of your earnings. So
how much is that? If I'm paying you $10,000 a month for 3 developers, and I want to end up bringing them on my team full time, what might that look like?
So again, it will depend on, we'll first have to agree upon a minimum commitment, number one, right? So, I wouldn't allow you to transfer them for the first 1 or 2 years, right? And after that, it will be relatively high. I typically would take a fairly minimum 6 to 10, 1 year of a billing kind of a thing to execute that. That's rarely happened. In fact, a lot of clients just prefer us running the teams, even a post acquisition or, post the investor understanding this, which is an option available, right? So, in the worst case kind of a scenario. But the other part is my IP is my team, right? The biggest challenge is not getting clients, it's getting the right team members. So we have a very strong non-solicitation clauses, which our clients understand, right? So ideally you should not be hiring from me directly. It's a relationship also. And our team members also have signed up with us that, they cannot work with clients.
And they're loving it. I'm seeing pictures of you guys rafting together in white water on your website. There's clearly a strong culture here, which is important.
Yes. So we are very, very clear that people first culture is, I think, I can go on record saying, and I don't care about investors because I don't have any. I'm more concerned about.
You're bootstrapped.
110%. Yeah. So, $1,500 to whatever, 15 million today.
So you personally, when you launched, you put in $1,500 to start.
Right. And that was because that was a paid up capital required to, again, you declare some money, which, with the starting. So we put in 1,500. I don't think we even use that fully. And we've never added $1 more to the company yet. And we
And
now,
so, Mitul, are you the sole founder or are there co-founders?
no, so me and my wife are co-founders. She's an active,
Wow.
and and we've now brought in a lot of team members as stakeholders, and that's what I want to do. I want to keep on getting team members within the team to come become stakeholders. I strongly believe that. I want the pie to grow large. I don't want to necessarily hold on to the share of the pie.
Do you pay any profit sharing out to the team?
So that's the engagement I had with some of the people who've joined as stakeholders now. So, there was a profit sharing, which I had with a few team members, and now they're part of the larger org, and, they're part of the equity holders now. And, they really helped grow the team. So I think one thing I always tell everyone is that the growth of the, entire organization is dependent on each and every person. Everyone has contributed, and that's very clear about how we want to continue moving forward also.
Mitul, this is a heck of a story. Thanks for making time for me. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
I'm not much of a reader, but recently I read a book by a friend called "Let's Build a Company," a startup story minus the bullshit. I was pretty impressed by the book. Yeah.
Number 2, is there a founder you're following or studying?
So I love Sridhar Vembu, Zoho CEO. Great role model. I just love him.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Codytoss?
I no longer code, so as in because I don't have time for it. But G Suite. I think that's where most of my time is. Right, Gmail particularly, but G Suite entirely is our company's.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Oh, I need that. I am very clear. If I don't sleep, I can't function. So
how many hours?
Minimum 7.
7. Okay. And what's your? You mentioned married. Do you have any kids?
Yep. 2 daughters.
Wow. Okay, 2 kids. And how old are you?
I am 39.
39. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
I wish I knew people were complex. So over the period I've learned, I've improved myself in my people skills and learned more.
Guys, so many SaaS CEOs I have on would whisper in my ear and say, we use this firm called Codytoss in India to do all of our development, like Chris at Connect and Sell, who broke $25 million in revenue. I said, I got to talk to the guy behind Codytoss. It turns out it's Mitul and his wife building a great organization, over 400 folks on the team. They did over 10 million in revenue last year, really helping folks, again, build great development and software, not bug-free, but highly responsive team. They moved quick, working with top firms, 50 clients last year as they continue to scale, all 100% bootstrapped. Mitul, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you very much, Nathan.